Hello Twitchies, and welcome to your top 5 jungle video, where it is being dominated, of course, by the assassins. That enhanced Jotun's Wrath has really reinforced the fact that the jungle is for assassins and pretty much assassins only. So before we jump into it, make sure you hit that like button, comment down below which junglers you think made it into the top 5, and let's jump right into it. Incon's top 5 Jungle Edition. Number 5. Making her way onto the list at number 5 for the first time, it is going to be a Weelix. A lot of a Weelix strength right now comes from the fact that she has a fantastic early game fight because of all of the CC that she has in her kit. If you've been playing in the mid and jungle, you know that at level 2, there's fights on fights on fights over in the mid lane. And with those fights occurring over there at level 2, you need to have a lot of CC to set up for those quick first bloods. She's got the knockup on her 3. She's got the feather step root. You've got tons of damage potential there as well on top of that in order to grab that first blood, and then you can start to snowball right away. You can go start stealing some jungle camps early. Her early game fight, huge part of the reason why she's in the meta right now, but also 2 other things. 1, she's got that ability to counter leaps. Leaps are super popular all around the map right now, particularly in the mid lane, in order to make life a little bit safer. And she can go kind of a meme build with the meditation knockback. Just throwing it out there. You blink in, you have the meditation pop that knocks him up. You give yourself a free knockup. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Check it out sometime. It's very fun. And the Ferocity Jotun's Wrath upgrade that gives you the bonus % damage based off your auto attacks and abilities or being hit by auto attacks. I recommend trying that on a Weelix. Don't get the lifesteal one. That bonus % damage, even if it's only like 5 to 10% by the time that you're using a big ability like Feather Step, absolutely worth it. Number 4. Camazotz comes onto the list at number 4. Camazotz consistently a god that performs with the general player base better in the jungle than he does in the solo lane. I think this always surprises people. At a competitive level, you typically will see the Camazotz over in the solo lane more than the jungle. Not that he doesn't show up in the jungle, because he does, but he shows up more over in that solo lane. But for the average player, he's always performed, since we started tracking data about 4 or 5 months ago, he's always performed better in the jungle. January was no exception, still performing better in the jungle here at number 4. A lot of his performance too, I think, is going to increase in the jungle. I think that this is just the beginning, not the end of the Camazotz jungle as we transitioned into Season 9. Jotun's Vigor for the bonus lifesteal on Camazotz is an obviously good pairing. Soul Eater with him in the jungle is an obviously good pairing. Serrated Edge, you can see how much lifesteal he can get in his build. Plus, anybody right now that can utilize the bonus damage off of Runeforged Hammer, honest to God, is gonna be good in this meta right now. Super easy slow that goes on targets. Do a bunch of bonus damage, bada bing, bada boom. Not to mention he's a crazy safe jungler as well. And because there's a lot of jungle invades going on right now, having the ability to leap over the wall or ulti away when you do eventually get collapsed on for being so greedy in their jungle, very nice for him to make sure that you don't fall behind from a death. Number 3. Coming in at number 3, it's going to be Fenrir. This one actually a bit of a surprise for me. I'm actually surprised he's not higher up on this list. Fenrir has been performing very strongly throughout Season 8 and 9, although I do think that he's performing even better in Season 9 than he was in Season 8, so I do expect him to actually probably be number 1 or number 2 as we move into the February data. But for the conglomeration effect of all throughout January, he has come in at number 3. Consistently high-performing god. One thing about Fenrir that makes him such a consistent performer is that his kit is always good. There's basically nothing that you can do to the numbers to make the kit not good. Multiple leaps in his kit, built-in lifesteal, built-in power buff, built-in CC immunity, a lot of CC in his kit, and one of the hardest hitting, if not the hardest hitting, lock-on ability in Smite, which also means that he performs better at all levels of gameplay because he's not a crazy high skill cap god. Some fun skill cap things that you can do on him, like ulting and not biting right away to try to burn beads and stuff, but really his bread and butter is just that brutalize, because it does like 900 damage when you max it out and you pop the 2. One thing you need to know on Fenrir in order to get the max utilization out of him, before you pop your brutalize, if you can, make sure you use your seething howl first so you get that giant power buff, then use your brutalize, because when you do that combo, that's how you're going to get those nearly 1k brutalizes. And if the enemy does not have anything to cancel your brutalize, aka a leap or a CC, they're going to die every single time.
Number 2.
Our number 2 jungler for the January STL is going to be Thanatos. Now, Thanatos is a god that actually is making more sense now in Season 9 than he did in Season 8. Thanatos always kind of makes sense in a general sense, because win early game, snowball equals win, because that's just how Smite works. And the more farm that there is in the game, the more that statement holds true, because the more farm that there's on the board, the more things you can do and get ahead while they are dead. And if anybody is good at making the enemy dead in the early game, it is Thanatos. Scythe will perpetually basically be the best level 1 ability in the game. It does a ton of damage. It's going to slow your opponent. It is going to give you a big, beefy amount of health back. So now that we've moved into Season 9 and it's basically WWE SmackDown in the mid lane at level 1 and level 2, that means that Thanatos is absolutely adoring life right now, because he gets to go absolutely ham in the first 1 minute of the game, grab himself a couple of kills, get himself a couple of level lead, and now all of a sudden he's ganking all of your side lanes at level 5 before they've had an opportunity to get level 5, and you can see how Thanatos is now off to the races. For those of you that have been playing in Season 9, you know that they've added more farm to the game in a myriad of ways, not the least of which is the fact that the totem, the obelisk, will respawn camps when it spawns. So if you time out camps right, you can basically do them twice in a row. All of this is to say that Thanatos has been loving life, so watch out for his scythe.
Number 1.
And the number 1 jungler is going to be Clio, screaming her way to the top of the list. Clio is a higher skill cap jungle god, and that's why I think there's been a little bit of a delay from her kind of release to her performance. Even though she has been nerfed since her release, she's actually performing better now in the numbers as people have gotten more practice underneath their belts and more experience with Clio, because she does have one of the more complicated kits in order to use properly. Her dash is not super easy to hit. Her ultimate is also not easy to hit, but does a ton of damage and also is a fantastic objective burner. But now that people have gotten more practice, they're utilizing all of her CC properly. Silence is a crazy strong effect to have in Smite. She's got the ability to go invisible against the target that she's fighting or trying to get away from, which makes her safe. Her dash has one of the longest dash ranges in the game, especially when she's inside of a wall, and her ultimate blocks off entire paths for you to go to, and people are realizing that sometimes it's better to block off a way for somebody to run than it is to necessarily go for the direct hit, because then they stick around for your auto attacks. And on top of all of this, the build right now is just right down Clio's path. Nothing wrong with going the immediate Jotun Soul Eater serrated on her, which gives you triple lifesteal right off of the bat. It gives you a ridiculous amount of lifesteal. It gives you all sorts of these crazy sustain stats, so you never have to back. And because you never have to back, you get a massive level lead, because you can walk around and just constantly farm in the jungle, and there will always be a jungle camp up in Season 9 for you to farm, which has led Clio to our number 1 spot. Clio, the screaming banshee menace of the jungle, found her way into that top slot. Took her a little bit of time, I think, for people to start getting used to her kit. I actually do think she is quite difficult to execute at a high level. She can be difficult on different platforms as well, depending on what input method you're using. Her dash can actually be hard to do that perfect whip around in order to get the damage online. Her ultimate can be hard to use because it does have a small delay on it before it comes out, and it's pretty thin. But as people have gotten more and more practice with Cleo, I think she started to shine more and more and more. Multiple roles as well. She's not strictly just a jungle. We also see her a little bit over in the solo lane, but jungle is definitely where she's thriving. And with these super easy lifesteal builds going on right now, with the Jotuns upgrade, then you grab a Soul Eater and you're going to get a Serrated Edge for the pen. She's also surprisingly tanky as an assassin in the jungle without actually building any tanky items, which has made her more of a menace to your HP bar than she is to your ears. Couple of notable gods that didn't quite make the top 5 list is actually gonna be the brothers Thor and Loki. Thor and Loki have both been performing pretty well as of late, particularly as we've moved into season 9. Their performance numbers have kicked up, so it'll be interesting to keep an eye on them and looking at them throughout February. Well, of course, this will be strictly based off of season 9 information, and so we will get to see how they are doing in that particular meta, but it does seem to be in their favor, really leaning into strong ability-based gods right now in the jungle. Hope you guys learned something here today. Hope you enjoyed the video. Please make sure to hit that like button and subscribe. I'll see you guys in the next one, and as always, have a twitching day, y'all.
Thank you for supporting the Twitchiest community. If you'd like to see more videos, make sure you subscribe to the channel and always hit that bell for notifications so you don't miss any of the upcoming videos. Thank you for all your support and have a twitching day, y'all.